It's a glorious day in a glorious part of the winemaking world. Welcome to Stellenbosch and day one of the International Chenin Blanc Conference. From right across the planet, some of the experts in the world of Chenin Blanc have descended to get together, exchange ideas, and just have a bit of fun with this most wonderful of grapes. Here's day one. The Congress is being hosted at the Stellenbosch Institute for Advanced Studies, STIAS, and behind me, the Manor House is currently home to an extraordinary selection of Chenin Blanc, not just from here in South Africa, but from right around the world. And so for purely reasons of research, I think I need to go and explore. Vincent, just as some background, give us your wine story, how you got into wine and where you're making wine now.
I come from the Loire Valley, and since I'm young, I'm very passionate about the vineyard and the wine. My parents are also vignerons, so I grew up in the wine industry in Vouvray, and so I did start to study winemaking and viticulture in the Loire Valley, and then I went for a stage in South Africa. So in '97, and I also fall in love of the country, and I decided to come back every year to do some wine also in South Africa.
When you first came to South Africa, were you surprised by the quality of Chenin Blanc here?
Yes, it was actually, the Chenin Blanc was already big in terms of volume, but it wasn't very popular, because I think this time it was more the grape like Cabernet Sauvignon and Sauvignon were much more popular. But the quality was already very good. The grape was a bit different from our side because the climate is very different, of course. So I was very interested and very curious about that Chenin Blanc in South Africa and the wine, the result of the wine we can get. And this time I met also some passionate people and passionate about the Chenin Blanc. And I think they really like Ken Forrester or Brewer Rats or Eben Sadi or the Bodanos, and they did a big job after to promote the Chenin Blanc, to show how it can be also in South Africa, high quality level wine.
What is it for you that makes Chenin Blanc such a special grape?
The Chenin Blanc is quite, as we can hear this morning at the conference, it's a grape can adapt to very different climates. So a big capacity of adaptation to the climate, to the soil, and also that reflect very well the place where it's growing. So it can be very different aromatic profile, texture, acidity. It's very, very interesting wine because you never get bored. You know, you always surprised with this grape, and I think it's the best quality for the grape. Yeah.
Why is this Congress so important?
It's very important, I think, to know what's going on with all the industry around the Chenin Blanc, all the new scientific result. That's very, very important. Also to share between all the producers from France, South Africa, and other countries, just to share our experience and our taste of wine, and it is very important. Then we can also improve our style of wine. We can improve the quality, and yeah, it's very nice.
You've got great experience both here and in France. What can France learn from South Africa? What can South Africa learn from France?
I think for the French side perspective, with the climate changing a lot, you know, in our area, the Loire Valley, it's more like semi-oceanic climate. It was quite cool area, but now it's become quite hot. So we need really to learn from South Africa. I think the way they grow the vineyard and how they adapt to the heat and the drought. And that's for me what's in our side we can learn, because in your country it's already quite hot and dry climate, and you know how to manage that, and we don't know. We need to learn about that. And the other side, I think, what we've got, it's our culture about the terroir. The terroir, it's the soil, it's the climate, and also the human. And we are always very, we want to show the terroir through the wine. We always talk about terroir. And I think in South Africa, it's become more and more, but it's still a young way to show the wine. And I think South African can learn about us, about terroir, and the way we want to translate the terroir in the wine.
No surprises at a Chenin Blanc Congress to find a man whose handle on social media is Chenin King. It's a happy space for you here, bro, because this is a grape you're enormously passionate about.
Indeed so, Dan, and you know, I think this is just, except for Chenin Blanc lovers, you know, this is probably a Congress that, you know, everybody should attend, because they talk about so many global issues and international issues and challenges for the future. So, you know, I think that you know, this is just anybody that's interested in wine, growing wine, making wine, marketing wine, because they cover all these angles, should actually attend this. It's just sort of a nice indicator and heads up for what we're going to expect for the future as well.
Give us a sense of day one, the conversations, the talks, the presentations. What really hit home for you?
I think today was obviously more focusing on climate, viticulture, you know, just the genetics of Chenin Blanc. But I think what was definitely the message that came very clear, they showed data from 1902 till 2002 on South Africa, climate data. And we're definitely getting warmer, we're getting drier, and these challenges, I mean, to have the first time I've seen data over 120 years, climate data from South Africa. So the message is definitely clear that we are changing, and at the conference they're also addressing how to do it, practical viticultural, water management, all of that. So I think that after the first day, that's wonderful. You know, I wonder if I'm going to sleep tonight, because there's so many things to think about.
It's a gathering some serious minds of Chenin Blanc. Was there anything this morning that took you by surprise, that you weren't expecting to hear or to learn about or to discover?
I suppose yes and no. I mean, obviously we all knew these things are there, but when they put into facts and figures and they were shown, you know, to you the reality, and where the predictions, like one of the speakers said, you know, no module is right or no module is wrong, but it definitely gives you indication of where we're heading to. I think that you know, that sort of shocks you and makes it feel more real that it's happening. I've been farming in Stellenbosch now for almost 30 years, you know, and I've definitely noticed the changes, but you know, you notice the changes and then we have a drought and then we have a nice winter again. But when you actually then see it in context, I think that it hits home, and it almost gives you a shock in reality in what you need to do for the future. So you know, that to me was really an eye-opener to see the hard facts.
Where does this then place South African Chenin Blanc going forward? What do we need to take away from this Congress to ensure that a grape that's already in good health becomes even more so?
You know, we need to be more site selective, meaning that we need to find cooler slopes, and we need to be more specific on where we plant them. We know that Chenin Blanc are very versatile, and that we've already proven because it's one of the few varieties that grow in all the regions in South Africa. But what we're now saying is that you have to be more site specific. When you plant vineyard or Chenin Blanc, you can't just plant it anywhere anymore. You have to plant it within the view that what's the climate going to be like in 20 or 30 years' time. And also viticultural practices is that you'll need to start just from a point in water. Water is going to be a problem. You know, we need to understand what happens with the water that falls on our land. Where do we catch it? How can we use it again? You know, things that were brought out, planting with contours, simple little things, normal practical things that we not necessarily have done in the past that we can change for the future.
So after the academia of the morning, it's playtime in the afternoon. Buses departing from the venue and heading out across Stellenbosch to go and meet winemakers, go and meet some vines, plenty of them old vines, and get a real feel for the grapes we're celebrating in Stellenbosch this week.
I think it's pretty cool. It's nice to have international people come out and seem to be interested in South Africa and what we're doing, and of course proud to show off what we have here in the Chenin vineyards. I love it. I think it's a great versatile grape that can perform so many roles and make so many different cool styles of wine, and I think that's part of its beauty. And then of course the history that we have with the varietal makes it special.
So this is Chenin Blanc in its purest form. These are old bush vines just left to pretty much grow as they are. There's no trellising, there's no irrigation. It really is an incredibly natural, old school process. The yields aren't extraordinary, but the quality certainly is. Stellenbosch, which is where we are, features on the Standard Bank Chenin Top 10 year in, year out. And this particular wine, the mothership, comes from exactly these vines, and it is such an authentic sense of Chenin Blanc in the terroir. Drinking it now, tastes delicious.
It's just such a great opportunity to develop friendship with the French, which is an unusual concept, but pulling the French and the South Africans together around a common denominator of Chenin Blanc, it's just such a truly wonderful thing, and also to learn from each other. I said today at my opening address that if we showed leadership jointly together on Chenin Blanc, we can only go places and cement our position in the world. So it's exciting times.
It was a wonderful first day for the Congress, and after we have a meeting and we visit many wineries, very nice wineries, very different places of the country, and there was things, because in fact we understood the different things and the different influence of the wind, of the place, of the sea, and everything, of the terroir also, of course. So everything is perfect. Thank you.
So this is what we call the still. It was produced in, the first wine was produced in 1968. That was when Simonsen was founded. And when we turned 50 years ago in 2017, we said we need to replicate the first one made at Simonsen. And we did it under old label called Still. So this is 7 barrels selected from 58 barrels. Spent about 12 months on oak. So it's beautiful, quite round. The picking takes place first picking at about 21 baling and the last picking at about 26. So you get this lovely freshness, and then towards the end you get this lovely stewed fruit character, giving it beautiful complexity.
That's a perfect way to wrap up day one of the Chenin Blanc International Congress in Stellenbosch. See you tomorrow.